We are
We are live and welcome to another episode of Risk Raiders. That's right, where you get the wisdom of the middleman. We are two professional, semi-professional, kind of professional insurance agents, owners who've come together to help teach you some ideas of how you might want to choose to protect your family or your business. But you need to remember that we are not giving insurance, legal, or accounting advice. And if you need help with your own personal stuff, call your personal agent because he's responsible for you, not us. Brent.
Exactly.
I'm Jeff Shropshire. That is Brent Borgstedte. We are the Risk Raiders. God help you all for listening. Brent, how you doing today?
Very, very good. Very good. It's Friday, which is always the best day of the week. Got the weekend coming up. I'm excited. I'm in finally got my office finished here at the house, and got a little sun coming in over my shoulder here. I've got to work on that a little bit, but got all the new studio equipment set up and fired up and ready to have a good podcast talking about choices
today.
Life choices and risk management choices are the same thing.
They are. And there's some choices where you should say yes to and some you should say no to. And
probably if you're a guys like us, you should say no more often.
No's a good thing. No at least stops you from saying yes. And so it brings me to a story that I heard this week from a friend of mine who's in marketing, kind of in this realm that we do with this technology stuff, videotaping, podcasts and stuff like that. And he was telling me a story and I thought, man, the last thing I heard about it was choices. This is what I thought. This is what choices is. So I'm going to try to get through this and clean this up. So he's working with the client and the client, it's a pretty decent sized client. And the client sends in a guy whose position is a visionary. He's a visionary of the whole marketing thing. So you have the company and you have then the people like my friend who's, trying to produce and get everything going. But then you have the visionary who oversees.
What does it say on his card? Does it say visionary?
Master visionary, probably. And after this story, we're going to come up with a new name for his card. So let's come back to that. So my friend's telling me the story that they were about to start shooting some stuff, promos, ads, podcasts, stuff like that. And they're waiting on the visionary. He's late. Visionary. And this isn't a town.
Vision.
This isn't more, I like to position this. This is a pretty progressive town that they're in. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Where this, I'm not saying it wouldn't happen here in Lubbock or Houston. It could, but it's a little bit more of a progressive town. So they're
kind of a central Texas
Texas
maybe
town.
A big university there.
I don't know. I've heard they have a university. I'm not really quite sure.
Well, it's kind of a community college for weirdos, but yeah, I get it.
There you go. And so they're in this town and I'm about to start this whole brand new marketing campaign. It's just so exciting. And the visionary's late. Where's the visionary? So the visionary's still not here. He comes in on day one, comes dragging in about 30 minutes late. And the visionary is, I think the word he said, he was kind of perking. He was kind of perking, like twitching, perking, a little anxious, and had to go outside a lot and do a little puff daddy and a lot of things. And the first day was kind of rough because he kind of spent most of it kind of pacing outside of this progressive city, puff. And they're trying to get some work done. And the first day was kind of a hassle. But then day two is where the day of choices comes into play. So
I love where this is going.
We're on apparently on a remote scene, and oh my gosh, visionary guy's still not here. And so visionary guy then shows up a little bit later. And my friend, this is also choices that you make on what you say to people, like when they're late, right? He asked this question. Yeah. Where have you been? Now, that kind of sounds like a fair question, but if you think about it, that's an open question that you got to be careful with. And here's why, folks. So the visionary comes up to tell this story of, a couple of days ago when I was flying in, I got on Bumble. Now, first decision, I'm going to get on Bumble. And I met a girl, which ends up, by the way, turns out to be a prostitute. It's just an accident.
Shocker.
Shocker. So he shows up at the girl prostitute's place, and she's like, "Hey, come on in. Would you like to try, some new ED medicine?" Now, this guy, I think, is probably toking a little bit or putting things in, so he's kind of open.
Marching powder.
He's in the perfect town. He's ready, and he's like, "Yeah." So she comes in.
Why not?
Yeah, and so it's not a tablet. It's a jab. So he commences to let.
It's a shot?
Yeah, he commences
with a needle.
He takes a needle to the Willy Wonka.
Get the.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to be
well,
kidding.
He did.
Whoa.
Now, can you imagine this? This is about choices, folks. You're on a plane, you open an app, and then within about 2 hours, you're taking a jab in the Willy Wonka. This is how
this
fast.
This is a risk management fly in the road where you made the wrong choice.
Yeah. So and
now we're going to hear about the consequences.
Yeah, and here we go. So, like on the Food Channel, when you're watching all those commercials on these sorts of jabs into the Willy Wonka and all that stuff, well, they're true. Willy did not want to lay down. Willy wanted to play longer than this guy was ready to play. He wanted to make some more chocolate, like for a week, right? So this made the visionary a little nervous, and the visionary goes to, I think it's called the ER. Now, remember, he's here on a very big new business promotion to help this customer get launched. So he's in the ER, and you know what the solution is to help fix Willy Wonka, who stands at salute too long?
Can't wait to hear.
3 more jabs. He took 3 more jabs into the Willy Wonka to try to get that thing to die down. So he spent all night with this. So he comes dragging into this chute. They ask him,
with a damaged
what's
unit.
going on? And so he just tells them this story. And they go, "Are you okay?" And he goes,
"The client?" He tells this to the client?
To the client and to my guy who's like trying to, and they're walking in and he's telling everybody this story. And I'm like, "Did you hit record? You got to get this on record to have him sign the waiver, get him on record." So they go, "How you doing?" He tells the story and he goes, "But I think with a little bit of coffee, I'm going to be fine." Well, no, he was. He started twitching on the sofa. I think there was a little bit of reverb of Willy Wonka. So they ended up kicking the visionary out of the chute. And they called the boss.
Becoming a distraction.
The last time they saw the visionary was he was walking down the street in this very progressive town with his hands in his pocket with his head down, just wondering what the hell was going on. So, folks, there's choices in life. There's choices when it comes to risk management. There's choices with when you get on that plane and you go onto that app of what you're getting into. So today we're going to talk.
But there were a lot of places in that story where he could have said no.
He should have said no.
Once he got to the apartment and realized she was a professional, there was a chance to say no.
When she walked in with the needle,
said, "I'm going to give you a shot," there was a chance to say no.
Well, don't forget, she told him that this was a new kind of experimental ED jab. Well, there's a lot of that floating around. There's a lot of that. You can just get that on the show. I got some of that at 7-Eleven the other day.
Yeah, come out back. We're running a trial. On a human. This is the first human trial. We've been using it on guinea pigs, but it didn't really get the size we were looking for, so we need to try it on humans.
No, this was guinea pigs, or was it the elephant one I gave you? I don't know. But Thumper had a good time.
Who was that elephant? Oh, shoot. Well, can undo that.
So how does he go home and go, how was your day at work?
How about when he gets home from his, goes back home to wherever the nut job is from, the visionary?
Now, he's from a state called Oregon, and I'm serious. They flew him in from Oregon, from what I understand. No, that's not a joke. I mean, we would all assume that.
That makes sense now.
I just can't imagine where it takes to make that decision of all those things.
You ever been out there? I bet he's from Portland.
I don't know. In the news, they're talking about that Portland's kind of like that. But I don't know what state.
Have you ever been there?
No, I hear it's beautiful. Is it
It
beautiful?
is beautiful. We went up there. I've actually been up there a couple of times. One of my wife's friends from nursing school moved up there and got married. And we went up for her wedding. This is a long time ago. It's 20 plus years ago. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Super fun. No, I'm sorry. That was Seattle. Wrong story. But we did go to Portland.
I think
Actually, I
it's
got a good story about Portland. We went to Portland because there's a wine festival up there that's called the Pinot Noir Festival. It's all about Pinot Noir and Burgundy and stuff like that. And it's at
called heaven for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's at a little college. It's at a little university outside of Portland called Linfield or something like that. Lynn something. And it's kind of neat because it's a little small college and you actually stay in dorms for the thing. You stay in dorm rooms, which I thought was appropriate for something where you're going to do a lot of drinking. I was like, this feels right to me. I don't know.
Containment.
Last time I lived in a dorm,
Yeah.
I was, overserved a lot. So it felt right. We stayed in dorms and all of the events were on this campus. And it was really cool because you could walk to everything, didn't have to drive or anything like that. But it was right outside of Portland, so we flew into Portland and then we rented a car. Actually, I can't remember. I think we rented a car. But it's funny. One of my a girl that I went to high school with lives up there now, and I texted her as soon as I landed, and I said, "Hey, just wanted you to know that I was in the area." And she goes, "I felt a change in the force. I knew you were here."
I was just bumming my way through Portland.
Yeah.
I just happened to take a wrong turn in Houston, and now I'm in Portland.
Yeah, no, I'm in Portland.
Baby.
But it was a super fun thing. If you ever get to go up to Pinot Festival, it's worth doing.
I don't think I will.
Wine.
I don't think I'm going to get to.
And if you like, it's like drinking wine from a fire hose all weekend. I mean, it's coming at you from all directions. You got to kind of be into it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were in Portland just long enough to see that it was a little bit different. Like the people were a little bit different and attitudes, and I don't know. It was. We had fun. It was a nice place. It's a beautiful part of the world. Of course, it's not 1,000,000 degrees like it is here in Houston.
Yeah.
And so it was nice. We had a lot of fun, but definitely a different part of the world. And I think people up there have a different outlook on life maybe than we do in Texas.
Apparently. But I wish I would have been there. I don't know if I could have handled it. I have a lot of questions. When you make a lot of choices.
You and I would have been there. We'd have blown the guy up.
We would have had him on today. And you know what?
We would have blown him up right. Like that, the first
he
day
would have come on.
The last day. We wouldn't have got past the first day.
I wouldn't have made it.
We'd have been like, dude, lay off the marching powder here. We're trying to work. This is this is a new client we're trying to get
and
here.
Put that thing up. I'm tired of looking at that.
Yeah.
Steady, soldier.
Go down to Academy and get yourself a cup.
Yeah.
Right?
Get a barrel, put it on, do something. I'm tired of looking at this.
I don't want to see that anymore. Oh my God.
Sheath it, boy.
Your friend was mortified. Did they lose the client or what happened?
No, they kept the client, but the high up guy ended up calling the visionary, and I'm afraid he got snipped right there on the job.
Said we don't need that kind of vision.
Well, no.
In our firm.
They said they started telling the owner guy the story, and once he quit laughing, he thought they were joking.
He was like, hang on, got to make a call. I'll be right back to y'all.
He's like, I'm coming down. I'll be right there. I don't know. It was brutal, but it made my week better because, you kind of have those weeks where you needed that story. It was a good story. I don't know if I told it it's perfect, but it was real.
You always think that maybe you're not doing everything right or you're, not going at things correctly. But then you hear something like that and you realize, nah, pretty well doing it right.
Yeah, I have a chance.
Like that.
I have a chance. I might make it through this world. If I just steered clear of that, I don't think that's that hard, but I think that's something to strive for. I'll have to go pull up my Tony Robbins stuff and see if any of this links into it.
Here's the thing that story is a good example of is that making good risk management choices it's easy. Making the good choices easy. You just don't want to sometimes. You want to be visionary guy, but in reality, the obvious right choices are usually right in front of you, right?
Yeah, and
So
there's not a lot of it's not that hard. And a lot of it's
yeah,
common sense. Like
yeah.
there's like you said, there's a lot of things to say. You could just say no to and that, and don't quit. People try to second guess themselves too much, or they think that, oh, this little, like, you're the only one who thought of that. Like, no, just this is not something to mess around. Risk management is one of those things that really doesn't really change much. Some of the exposures change sometimes, but the whole idea of the thinking of it's the same.
Well, I would say for a visionary guy, his problems started earlier in that you're being called in as a consultant to help win a new client. Lay off the drugs just for a week or so, okay? No
Yeah,
marching powder.
no,
Let's try to get our head right and go down and sell a new client.
that's right.
Don't come in late and high.
Yeah, high and
That's
stay off the Bumble. That's not doing
yeah,
you.
stay
I mean,
off the bumble. And any experimental ED
if you're on the
treatments.
tarmac of your aircraft and the first thing you think of is, I get on Bumble, I think that's a place to revisit the thinking. Yeah, you could just start off there. That was the whole
Yeah.
problem, was the Bumble app. It's too available.
Um, I hate to admit this, but you're gonna have to tell me what Bumble is. I don't
I'm
know.
not even going to Google that. I think it's just an app to meet friends, nice
I
people.
thought that's what Tinder was for. Am I
I
20
don't
years
know.
late?
I don't know. I'm into 30 years of marriage now. I'm not into that. I'm not looking into it. I'm not going to Google it because I'm afraid that it'll come back and get us, and then we'll have to take down the podcast because we were searching some things we weren't sure. I'm not even going to look, but it's a great name of an app though. Bumble. It
Yeah,
sounds so.
Bumble.
Yeah, it just sounds so. So innocent. Then
Bumbling through.
yeah,
I don't
3
know.
minutes later, you're taking a jab. You're in the ER, and you're wondering what the hell.
How did this happen?
And I got to get to work. I don't think they'll notice this.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm just glad to see you over and over again. I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay, so what are we going to tell people today about risk management other than what not to do?
Well, I wish I could get that picture up that I had. Can you share it? We'll have to learn how to share pictures to this. That picture I sent you of the guy on the ladder across the street a few weeks
That was
ago.
beautiful.
It was beautiful. This is a great example of choices. The guy wanted to get up to the third floor of this building or this house across the street they're building. It's one of those, it's not 3 stories, but it's got a third story window in the
Right.
attic. And the guy wanted to get up there and paint it. And he had a super tall ladder. He had
Oh, it was
a
impressive.
30-foot extension ladder, but it was about 5 feet short. So his choice was to put the ladder on top of the pallet of grass and balance it. He had his buddy holding it and it was swaying. And he finally realized that maybe he ought to rethink it when I was out there taking a picture of him. He looked and saw me taking a picture of him and he was like, oh yeah, I guess the builder who I'm working for probably wouldn't like that. I don't, and so he came down off the ladder after that. I felt like I saved his life personally.
I think that was kind of missionary work for you right there. I'm trying to see. I think I have this picture.
Yeah,
Oh my
so the
God.
guy came down, but that was a bad choice.
That was a bad choice. It was a bad choice.
He knew it at the time.
He knew it, and
anyway.
I bet he was kind of like, I cannot believe of all things, Brent's home, and he's out there with the telescopic lens. Do you insure him?
No, no. This is a national builder.
He's not.
I don't write these guys, and I'm sure these guys were subcontractors.
You turn it into OSHA.
Contractors.
You call the OSHA
so they were
person.
technically uninsured, but insured. You know what I mean? Like they had a certificate, but they weren't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, don't even go there.
That is so bad. That is so bad. But it's just like that. A lot of people, when they think of risk management for their families, of course, in our world, it's going to be home and auto insurance. And it's always, that's a part of it, right? I mean, you got to have the insurance, and it's crazy right now to purchase the right stuff. I mean, I'm seeing so much stupid crap out there. I just had a guy send me a policy, a homeowner's quote that he got from somebody else. It's like 20 to 30% less than where we have them with, and I get it. But man, there's just no coverage on that. There was just no coverage.
You open them up and you look in the policy and you go, yeah, it's cheaper, dude, but you're really just getting air here. You don't have any
No,
coverage. You've got
no.
a ACV on the building and the roof's got a schedule in it, and no water damage coverage,
Yeah, no foundation
uh,
coverage. It's just,
nothing. And
yeah, you,
and I completely understand where people are coming from.
oh yeah,
My homeowners is like $10,000 a year, and I get it. When something comes along that's half that, you got to look at it. You're
right.
compelled to find something cheaper because, these rates are 4x what they were 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And so everybody's budget is blown by these high prices. I mean, there's no question about it. You've got to be out there looking for an alternative. The unfortunate reality is with insurance, as we well know, you get what you pay for. And if you're willing to accept a limited coverage form, then that's fine. Just don't go into it unaware. That's what I've seen a lot of our clients. They've switched to something, and they don't really want to know what's in the policy. They
Right.
just want that cheaper price.
Yeah, it's like the visionary guy. He didn't know. I mean, it sounded like a good idea, and he walked into it, and then later, it's kind of like when you have one of those policies. It's like when you're sitting in the visionary guys in the ER. That's where you are when the claims occurred, and you realize,
Yeah.
what did I do? And that's I don't know. I don't know if too many agents out there that they want their clients to ever go through that. You just don't want them to go through
No.
that, and you understand the pressure and the temptations, but part of the things here at Risk Raiders, what we want to do is we want to teach you a little bit to get you a little bit more prepared and a little bit more educated. So when you go sit down with your agent, when you go sit down with your family, and you're kind of plotting out all the things you need to take care of, whether it's taking care of your home, your auto, your finances, and all those things, you kind of have to start at the core of making good decisions of how you get started. You need to know what you want to do. Because, you're talking about the outcome, and a lot of people don't understand that, if you make some of these decisions, these outcomes can be very expensive. And if
Very.
you're not prepared for it, and if you're not financially capable of taking on the extra risk that you did, and I'm like you, I'm all for people insuring as little as they have to if they can afford to take care of it themselves. You don't have to have insurance to take care of every need, but you definitely need it for sure if you couldn't afford it. That's why we have it. But a lot of people too don't want to spend an extra $20,000 or $30,000 on a roof or on a flood claim or anything like that. And you very well could easily start doing that now.
Down here, and I suppose in Lubbock too, but we're really moving away in the homeowners area from roofs being covered. I
Really?
mean, in the sense that we've got 3, 5% wind deductibles on a lot of our homes down here. And especially when you're at 3 and 5% wind deductible, you don't have enough coverage there anyway to worry about it. So I say to people, let's forget about the roof. Let's not worry about that. Let's take these higher deductibles. That'll get the premium down where you can afford it, and you could still have good coverage on the home. And if all you're really losing is coverage on the roof, in my opinion, that isn't that bad. That's a known quantifiable loss that most people can absorb. What you don't want to have is an ACV policy on your
Mm,
entire structure and then have a fire damage a good part of it and get a partial settlement on the
yeah.
entire house. So I think it's better to take pieces of it off, like the roof with a deductible, or even if you have an older roof, we've put a roof exclusion on some policies to get them to where the other part of it can be affordable. And they say, look, man, my roof's 20 years old, but it's in good shape. And they can be.
Yeah.
If it was put on right and it was a good shingle that was used, then yeah, at 20 years it can still be holding up, but no one's going to insure it. So we've used a roof exclusion a few times in those cases to just exclude the roof, and then we can still get good coverage on the rest of the house and liability and all that kind of thing. So there are variables that you can choose and still get good coverage, in my opinion.
Yeah. Up here, I think we've all moved from a 1% to basically, this is on homeowners, to 2% this year. I mean, it's happened like that. And there's a few people that still have a 1%. And when you're in that 2% margin, it's kind of in that world of, yeah, it could pay for some of the roof now. You're in that gray zone. Just so many people right now don't have. It's just kind of interesting. This is not just not a criticism, but a lot of people just don't have a lot of cash.
Right.
And
That's absolutely
and that
right.
when you look at risk management now, whether it's going to be for your property or your home or all the other things, health insurance, the same thing. I don't know nothing about health insurance, but you're talking about deductibles. We're all going to have to get to the point to where we're saving more money away for these sorts of things. And that's the way it kind of was when I came into the business 30 years ago. These insurance policies, whether it's health insurance, auto, home, it was all kind of catastrophic. Like the really,
Yes.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it was for the oh shit moments. I mean, that's what it was for. It
Yes.
was like, this is
Black
bad.
swan.
Yeah, the black swan thing. This is where this would bury me if I had to do this. So that's what, buy an insurance policy. And then over the years, the prices came down so much, and the deductibles and everything came down that we've retrained a whole generation of thinking that insurance is all the same. It should be about, probably like you said, a fourth of what the premium is now. And really, when I have a claim, I'm going to pay a couple of $1,000s and I move on. And it's just not that way anymore in the state of Texas or very rarely anywhere else. There's about 15 other states that have been highly affected by this. And anybody who's close to water, especially where you are, I'm up here. We don't have, if it floods up here, everybody, y'all are all gone. I'm on the top of the mountain in Texas, but we have the hail, we have the severe wind, the tornadic storms. And, if you don't start saving money for all this stuff, the risk management of your family is going to be very, very hard. But, that's hard now because there's a whole generation where we've kind of trained people to think, yeah, just go buy a policy and you're never going to have to
Right.
pay anything.
Yeah, you won't have to. Well, of course,
Well, y'all haven't.
not down
Y'all been
here,
hammering
but yeah,
everybody.
I
I
think in
mean,
a lot of
it's
parts.
changed because the hurricane-prone areas have already kind of faced this. So you are
Well,
ahead of
we've
the
had
curve.
such a string of flooding. The flooding's actually been abated. They did a bunch of flood control work here that worked,
Yeah.
believe it or not. But boy, we went through that stretch of about 10 years where we had a serious, as I like to call them, biblical flood about every 2 or 3 years. And man, as one of my clients said, I don't have any personal effects anymore. or no, he said, we don't have any sentimental
No,
objects anymore.
no.
We've been flooded 5 times. They literally had 6 feet of water in their house 5
That's
times.
just, there's just nothing
And
worse.
I'll never forget. I mean, it was bad. I mean, they ended up having to raise their house, build it up on a higher foundation because it was terrible.
Yeah.
And the wife called me one time, and it's not a funny story, but it is kind of humorous. It was one of those good moments for the agent. She was literally standing in 3 feet of water in her kitchen. She was calling me on her cell phone, crying because she couldn't remember if she'd paid her flood insurance. And I said,
Yeah.
hold on, let me look. And I literally logged in to write flood, and I was like, your policy's in force. And she was like, oh, thank God.
But
And I
she
said,
hopes it just
when
fills
the
up now.
flood water comes down, I'll come over with some wine. I literally came over with some wine because all their stuff was washed away. And so we came over and sat in their kitchen the next day after the water went down and drank some wine and just like, hey, it's going to be okay. You've got a flood policy. You're all right. Just take it easy.
Telling you,
It's upsetting, man. I mean, you get 3 or 4 feet of water in your house. You can't imagine what that's like because it doesn't go away right away. You're literally standing there watching your stuff float, and it's bizarre.
it
I have
is.
to tell you, it's worse than a fire. It's hard to explain
Yeah.
until you've gone
And these
through it.
folks who
It's
go
really
through in the
bizarre.
tornado, they come out of the basement and there's no block, there's no anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. But anyway, so all right, we got to leave time today to talk about college football
Texas
because
Tech has a home game in Houston this week.
the Red Raiders are here. They are in Houston.
Did you see
right
that
now. I'm sure the team is already here.
they're probably at your house. They're probably down in the basement.
Well, I wish they were at my house. They're not. But
Did
I've
you hear
got
what the
tickets for
AD
the
said?
game.
The AD,
What?
the Texas,
Yeah, he said.
the
Yeah, he
Texas
said
Tech AD
Houston.
declared this another home
Yeah,
game.
it's another
for
home game. Well, because there's so many Tech
That's
people in
ballsy.
Houston.
It's ballsy.
It's going to be like a home game out there. I promise
I
you, there'll be
know.
as many Tech
And
people as
I
there are
am
U of H people.
so PO'd. The plan was I was coming in for this game.
No, I know,
And
but
then
your son's got a tennis tournament.
he's got two things. He's got high school, his last homecoming, game's Friday, and then the dance is Saturday, and he's doing some after party thing at our house. So I couldn't leave Kelly with that. And then we're leaving Sunday to go to state tennis. But the whole plan that this was going to be our first road venture of risk raiders on location. I was looking forward to it. But I was like, could I leave? Like, there was just no way I could do it because of the dance on Saturday. But so what's your plan for the game? What are you going to do?
All right. So fortunately, you thankfully sent me that Red Raider Club link to the Red Raider Club, because I was going to go tailgate. I've got a bunch of U of H friends, as you can imagine. Some of them are insurance business. I've got a couple of State Farm agents that I know really good, and it's just some U of H folks that I hang out with, and they were going to tailgate, and I was thinking, man, I'd really like to hang out with some Tech people some too. And so you sent me a link to the Red Raider Club tailgate, so I bought tickets to that, and my son and I are going.
Oh, fantastic.
And so, yeah, we're going to go to that for a little bit, and then we're going to go find our U of H people and give them a hard time. And hopefully, I'm going to be ribbing them like it's an automatic win for us. And I hope it is. I feel like we're playing really well. I feel like we're playing really well. But U of H is good at home. I mean, they're a good home team. And
it's the Big 12. There's always a good, I mean, there's nothing for sure in the Big 12.
Cut out for us.
I know.
I mean, I feel like we win the game, but I think it's not going to be as easy as we think, because those guys are good. You know, they've got a good quarterback, and
it's hard to win on the road. It's just hard to win on the road, you know, from what they say. And it just is. Home field advantage is huge for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm hoping the crowd's going to overwhelm them, because there will be a lot of Tech people there. Trust me. There are a lot of Tech people in Houston. And whenever we played Rice or U of H or anybody down this way, there's a lot of Tech people, because we don't get a chance to go to a game that much.
That's a long way from here to Lubbock.
A long way. 502 miles to be exact. A
case of wine.
Yeah, it's a case of wine. So it's going to be super fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely I'll bring up the live WhatsApp when I'm out there.
Please do. I'm going to have to live through you. What time's the game?
6 o'clock. It's an evening game, which is even better.
I love that.
All the U of H games are at 11.
It'll be cool.
And it is
cooler.
hot. So it should be nice and cool, or cooler. Let's say it that way.
Have you planned what your beverage of choice is going to be this weekend?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do, you know, because I'm sure at the tailgates it's all going to be beer. You know, I'm not really a beer guy, so.
No, they usually have wine for the ladies there. You should be good. No offense.
Yeah, but it's crappy wine that I don't want. So what I may do is I may have a sneak bottle of champagne with me or something. I don't know exactly.
Okay, I got a solution for you. Do you have a friend who's a doctor or anybody who works in an ER?
My wife's a nurse.
Oh, okay. Does she have access to any empty IV little plastic?
She does IV therapy in her clinic.
Okay, so a friend of mine, this was a master, as I learned this in college. He was a pre-med student, and we were at the game, and he would go get a Coke, you know, and then he'd just be holding it like his hand over it, right? And then all of a sudden we started smelling bourbon, and the dude filled up one of those IV little pouches with liquor, had it up on his shoulder, ran it down his arm, had the little tube with the little thing. Boink, boink. He was just moving his arm down the line. He had these things, he had 3 of them taped to his body. And so he'd go in the bathroom. So when he needed one, he would elevate it up high, you know, for the gravity. Coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was genius. I mean,
pure genius.
I'm hoping those weren't used, but I figured I've lived long enough to where if I got a hold of some of that crazy blood, it may be out.
That is outstanding.
It is outstanding. So now I'm not recommending that to anybody, and that is not something we recommend here at Risk Raiders. That is not risk management.
Be a good risk management choice.
That's a choice. We don't recommend drinking and driving or stealing medical supplies for tailgating. That's not a good idea. Sometimes you have these things laying around the house. And
Mm,
if you do, it's just an idea, but it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
that is a great idea.
And he never became a doctor, by the way. And I wonder why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for another episode.
That
And we probably better wrap this one
was
up.
good. Well, so listen, have a great time this week at the game. Text me, let me know how it's going.
Guns up,
And guns
baby.
up. Everybody have a great weekend, and we hope to see you and hope you listen to our next episode of Risk Raiders.
All right, take care, everyone.